So now we want to shift gears and we want to talk about what is marketing, because this is something when I joined, we just started having to think, we started having these conversations. Okay, so what is marketing and what do we need to be doing when it comes to marketing at Evernest? And so I want to just walk through 3 main points with you and to help you guys and help you all understand this, the way we think about it. We think, first of all, it's a target market. And probably the first thing I did, probably within 3 or 4 months of being at Evernest, we got a whiteboard and we went into the conference room and I put sticky notes everywhere and I gave people sticky notes in the conference room and I said, okay, this is the person we're trying to reach. I want you to tell me who they are. I want you to, like, what do they hear? What are they around? What do they think and feel? What do they see? What do they say and do? What are their pain points? Like, what are their fears and pain points? And then really, what are they hoping to achieve? And I wanted everybody just to write on pieces of paper. So everybody wrote on paper and they started coming up and sticking it on the whiteboard in the correct areas. And then we just started writing it all out and talking about it and pointing things out. And we came up with 2 avatars for Evernest. Number 1, we came up with Mike and Mary, the investor. And then we had Susie and Steve, the homeowner. And we just said, hey, we know that there are many investors who are looking to buy rental property in low to moderate income areas of Birmingham, and they're trying to grow their rental portfolio. These people think one way. They have certain pains. They have certain fears. They are trying to achieve something else, versus the homeowner, the accidental landlord, the one house, one owner. They're thinking something maybe completely different. And they have different fears than the investor does. So we wanted to be very clear about our audience. And so we put them in 2 separate avatars. And we then started to craft our messaging and marketing to them. So in our sales funnel, we started using Lead Simple. We wanted to reach and have messaging that would appeal to both of those, or one more than the other, just depending on the type of leads we were getting. So Matthew, anything you'd say here about this, about target market?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing to think about as it relates to this would be Mike and Mary, Susie and Steve, the one house, one owner avatar. Maybe they don't want to own a rental property. What are their fears? And the way we think about that is their fear is like getting a bad tenant. Their fear is their house not renting. Their fear is covering their mortgage. Their fear is the tenant getting in the home or the resident getting in the home and then not paying. Those are the types of fears that a one house, one owner avatar would have, versus an investor who thinks more like partnership. If somebody owns 10 homes, they think of a property manager as more of a partner in that relationship. And what are the fears? A partner that takes advantage of you, a partner that is not transparent, a partner that lies to you. Those are the types of fears that an investor would have. Or looking dumb, a lot of times, would be a multi-house owner. So those are the types of things we came up with. And so one of the things we did too, which I think is a lot of fun, even though I got it backwards, was putting a name to these folks. Really helps you crystallize it in your mind, and it helps you also communicate really well within the organization, because as soon as somebody starts here, we start educating them on Mike and Mary and Susie and Steve. And we want that to crystallize in their mind, because we want them to know what that client looks like. And so being very clear on who your client is super important.
Yeah, and I think we instinctively knew this, but it was, again, much better to crystallize it and write it out. And
as you're scaling an organization too, you don't want somebody that, like a new person, have to figure that out on their own. Right. Or you and I probably intuitively knew it, but as we grew from the 10 or so people you saw there to 400 plus people today, you've got to continue to educate them on who we're talking to. I would also be interested in McKenna and Kayleen. Let's get them involved. I know everybody's probably wanting that. So McKenna, talk a little bit about having a deep understanding of who your customer or client is.
Yeah, I think from my perspective as like a content creator, obviously I'm creating for someone specifically, and that's for Mike and Mary, that's for Susie and Steve. And in this process, I think you also determine the clients that you don't want. Like, we don't want to waste marketing energy and marketing dollars on someone who's not a Mike and Mary or not a Susie and Steve. And Seems a little bit counterintuitive at the jump to exclude people, but we really need to focus our attention on the clients that we want. We don't want to be wasting energy on someone who's going to be a problem client. And we can take on those owners or those investors if our discretion allows it, but that's not who we're focusing on. We're really spending all of our time and energy on Susie and Steve, on Mike and Mary. That's who we're targeting, and we don't really stray from that. And we found a lot of success that way, I would say.
That's awesome. You've done a great job of that. Kayleen, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say the additional value of having the understanding of these labels is that it allows you to categorize and organize the content production scheme. So you can say, all right, are we creating enough content for Mike and Mary? Are they getting a blog, a newsletter, a video, and a podcast this week? And are the Susie and Steves also going to get content that's catered just to them? So it allows us to target our email marketing campaigns, and it allows us to create our content all the more intentionally, thinking about what kind of like bucket these people fit into. So I definitely encourage business owners to take a deep look at who are the ideal clients that you have right now, and can you use them as a little bit of a template to help answer some of these questions and get that understanding of your target market.
Yeah, I think that's great. As a matter of fact, to McKenna's point, we actually created some content around when or why Evernest would not be a good fit for you, right? So we wanted to, we didn't want to have our team wasting their time with the wrong types of clients. Hey, we were calling out people that we didn't want. And we were sending this in our sales letters saying, hey, this may not be a great fit for you if these things apply.